Hello everyone and welcome to this awesome video on securing private network access with Cloudflare tunnels. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chris. I run customer success over here at Cycle, and today we're going to set up something really cool. So we can take this Cloudflare D container, we can set it to egress, we can have it connect back out to our Cloudflare account, and we can have that basically manage all of the incoming traffic into our environment without needing to associate any of the public domain records on the cycle side. So for those of you that really want to have Cloudflare in front of cycle and don't want to have, to set up the A records to point over to the load balancer or do user upload certificates and want to just have this nice little setup of having this tunnel that can talk to the load balancer and be able to route the traffic appropriately into your containers. This is going to be really fun for y'all to watch. I definitely suggest following along in your hub, setting this up once or twice, having some fun with it, seeing what you can do. So without any delay, let's dive right in. So one of the first things here that we're going to talk about is this prereq list. So for anyone that's following along with this guide, the setting up the Cloudflare account, I'm not going to cover that. The DNS zone configured at Cloudflare, literally just click the button that says I want to add a domain. Cloudflare has this stuff so automated. Basically, it's just going to ask you a couple questions. It's going to try to migrate your domain over for you. You're going to go through a process of adding some new name server records over at your domain provider. Now, if you have a paid account, you can do this with a delegation, like a delegate a subdomain. But for this guide, I ended up using an old junk domain that I had bought as a gag gift for my wife. So you're going to see a pretty funny domain name here that I'm using. Anyways, you'll go through that process. It'll verify that the name servers have propagated. It took about 15 or 20 minutes for mine to propagate. It says 24 hours, but don't let that scare you. It'll be just a few minutes. And then you do need a cycle account with a hub configured. So if you've never gone through that process before, I will link in the video notes here exactly how to set that up through our getting started guide. So we have a bunch of pages on that here in the cycle docs. From here on out, we'll do this live. So we're going to head over to Cloudflare. So once you have everything set up that I had just talked about, the first thing that you're going to do is click the Zero Trust. So that's going to be on the main menu. It'll land you here. And we want to build a tunnel. And so go ahead and click into tunnels. And we want to use Cloudflare D. So we're going to select this. And as the guide mentions, and I think this is a great pattern to follow. Let's call it cycle stuff or cycle project or cycle demo, one of those things. And we'll save. And what we want to look at here, eventually we're going to copy this command here. Um, we can save this. I'm going to save mine over on another screen here. Okay, and we can click next. And so the first time I went through this, I used tunnel, but let's set up something new. We'll call it demo. Now, the domain I'm using is called List Queens. I bought this domain for my wife when she was selling lots of stuff on Facebook, so it was kind of a gag domain that we never got set up, but it's great for a demo for today. And then we have the service here. And so what we're saying is for any traffic that comes in on demo dot, in this case, listqueens.com, use this tunnel. And then the service that we're going to use to resolve where this specific traffic should go on the cycle side is actually going to be the load balancer. And so we're going to be talking from Cloudflare D, which is a container in an environment, to the load balancer. And so we can do that over the private network. So we're going to do that on HTTP, and we're going to give the host name of the load balancer, environment dash load balancer. And that's the same for every environment. So you don't have to worry about that being different in yours if you're following along. And then we'll save the tunnel. Great. And it's inactive. So we're going to need to set things up on the cycle side. And so over here, let's create a new environment and we'll call this Cloudflare Tunnel Demo. Put this in production. And this is our dev cluster. For those of you that haven't seen a demo or haven't really joined us for a live event before, this is just where we do a lot of our QA stuff. So you might see some things going on here. You might see some errors flash up on the screen. Don't worry about that. We're constantly improving the product and This is where we do a lot of that work. So we're going to create the environment. Great. And we're just going to go ahead and start all these. And we're going to deploy the container. So we can call this tunnel. And we don't have to do anything special here. This is just a kind of a walkthrough. So I'm using this Cloudflare D latest image. I've already imported this. I realize now that you maybe haven't seen that. So after I deploy this, don't worry, I'm going to go back and show you how to set that image source up. For now, go ahead and see that we're going to set this to egress only. Now, the reason this needs to be egress only is when this starts, it's actually going to initiate a connection back to Cloudflare, some service on Cloudflare that it connects to and says, hey, I'm here, I'm checking in, and I'm authenticating. And it authenticates based on the command that I had copied over earlier when we had clicked on Docker and I saved it off screen. And so I'll show you that here in just a moment, but we do need to set this to egress only. It does need to make requests out. However, public traffic cannot come in to talk to this container. So egress only is all that we need. Great. And here is the part where we will set up the token. And so we're going to override this. We are still going to use this Cloudflare D process, but if you'll see, and I can show you, let's see if I can show you here. Looks like I can. So you can't see the whole thing, but basically I'm just going to copy this entire command off of my notepad over here, and we're going to take that command and we're going to run that as the argument to Cloudflare D. Close that one. And you can see that this is how it's going to authenticate back to the Cloudflare service. And so we'll save that. And we're going to give it a start. Great. And let's check and make sure that it's running. Good. That's fine. Okay, this looks all good. Let's go check our Cloudflare side. And we're healthy. Great. So it's connected. There's just a few more pieces that we need to enable here, and we will be good to go. So one thing that's really neat is we want to use the load balancer that's in this environment to load balance traffic incoming to this tunnel in our environment. And the way we can do that is by enabling the load balancer and then setting up a non-hosted zone that points to the container and having that non-hosted zone facilitate the teaching of the load balancer of how to route that traffic when it comes in on that domain. And so instead of saying too much here, let's just go ahead and show you what that looks like. Now, there's no existing public network containers in this environment, so the load balancer wasn't automatically created. And it's easy enough, we just pop right in here. Definitely want to use that V1 load balancer. We're going to switch that over. You can see that now we have our inbound telemetry available. That's on. We have our IPs. Great. And let's just deploy a website container that we can render. So website. Again, we don't need to do anything fancy in here. Let's just have it run getting started. Okay. And we will deploy that. And let's give that a start. And then so over in our DNS zones, what we're going to do is we're going to basically teach this load balancer how to route traffic to this website container so that we can have the tunnel ask the load balancer, hey, can you handle routing this in this environment? And if we had, say, 10 or 20 instances of that container and you wanted a round robin to load balanced across all of those instances, now you still get that magic. You still get that functionality. You still could also use any of the other functionality available on the load balancer as well. So path matching and routes and specific matching and including of containers, adding different ports and things like this. So all that really core functionality that comes along with the load balancer, and that's actually getting more powerful every release. So I'm going to delete this. So this was here before from my testing because I want to show you the whole process. Great. Add record. Oh, pardon me. Create. And we want to say listqueens.com. I still think that'd be a pretty cool website. And review, create. Okay, and add a record. And we're going to take a linked record and we named this demo. And so that's on this side. And let's go verify that that is in fact what I did with this. Let me see here, configure. Public host name is demo. Okay. And so we want to say demo goes to this container here and create. And so now when traffic comes in to the load balancer in the environment CF tunnel demo, and the domain of the request is demo.listqueens.com, the load balancer knows this goes to the website. So really neat little thing to do there. We have the rest of it up. And let's see if we are ready to take traffic or if I missed something. Nope, we're good to go. Awesome. So the one thing that I did forget to mention was how to set up that image source. Now, Cloudflare D. I'm just going to go ahead and show you through the settings. This is called Cloudflare D. If you were setting this up from scratch, if you didn't already have one, you just click create and you want to use Docker Hub, Cloudflare D. The latest tag is probably fine. If you're using this production, you might want to pin to a version. And then you import the image and you're able to use that when you deploy the container. And so now you can see how easy it is to set up this really secure Cloudflare tunnel and hook it up in order to use have it route to publicly accessible containers on the Cycle Hub or in your Cycle Hub in your environment. If you have any questions, we'd love to hear those in the comments on the video. That's it for today. Hope you all had a great watch and looking forward to talking to you soon. Thank you.